Thank you for calling MediTrans, an Aetna partner reservations line. Para español, oprima ocho. If you need emergency transportation, please hang up and dial 911. Your call will be monitored and recorded for quality assurance. 48-hour business notice is required for all routine transportation requests. Please have your member ID number and the name and address of the doctor or other healthcare provider you will be seeing. To schedule a new trip, please press 1 now. To get more information about a trip you have already scheduled, please press 2 now. This is Kim. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to check on a scheduled trip for today.
What's your name, sir?
Jeffrey Bodin, B-O-D-I-N.
Date of birth?
05/22/97.
The trip that they had scheduled today was outside of geo access, outside of the miles.
So they weren't able to call Aetna about that because they told me on Monday that they were getting it to their supervisor and that the supervisor would call me Monday, but they never did. So
The Aetna has, it says Aetna has denied members' trip to 4000 Beanville Street to New
so
Orleans.
they denied it after the supervisor spoke to them?
I don't know. I guess on December 6th at 8 a.m. they notated this.
Okay. So
I'm not sure. I'm
who do
guessing
I
they
talk
spoke
to
to
now about that?
You would have to call Aetna. It's out of our hands. It's all Aetna. Would you like the number for Aetna?
Yeah, let me write that down in a second. Okay, I'm ready.
855-242-0802, and the option is member services.
0802?
Correct.
And what was the next thing you said?
The option is member services.
Okay, I guess I'll call them and talk about how I was denied on the, like the 5th or 6th for it being out of my, on the 5th to schedule for the 8th, that it was out of the mileage range?
Yes. You need the trip number?
Yes ma'am, what is that?
Trip number is T as in true, 0333476.
Okay, so Tom 0333476.
Correct.
Okay. For 8. Well, how many miles outside of the range was it?
The trip was 3447. The miles they allowed were, let's see, Mandeville, 30. They allowed just 30 miles, and it went over 7-point-something miles.
Okay, so it was 4.37 miles over.
7. They allowed 30. It was 7 miles over.
Oh, and it was 37 miles. 7 miles over.
Yes, sir.
Oh, because there and back. Okay, I see. Alright, so I guess I'll call them and talk to member services about all of that.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
then. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
You've reached Tulane Doctors, Specialty, Psychiatry Clinics Answering Service. Please hold for the next available operator. Thank you. Thank you for waiting. Please stand by.
Good morning, Tulane Doctors Specialty Psychiatry Clinics Answering Service. This is Katie.
Hi, I'd like to reschedule an appointment that I have currently today.
All right, let me get your information. I'll have the office reach out to you. What is your name?
Jeffrey Bodin, Jeffrey, space Bodin.
Bodin.
Yes, ma'am.
And a phone number, please.
985-520-4713.
I have 985-520-4713.
Yes, ma'am.
And may I get your date of birth, please?
05-22-97.
What time is the appointment for?
I believe it was 11:30 a.m.
All right, I'll go ahead and send this over and have someone reach out to you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Aetna Better Health. If this is a life-threatening emergency, please hang up and dial 911. All calls are monitored and recorded for quality assurance purposes. Due to high call volume, your hold time may be longer than normal. For member, press 1. For provider, press 2.
If you need a ride or wish to speak to transportation, press 1. If you would like to speak to a member service representative regarding all other questions, please press 2 or remain on the line.
It's flu season. Getting a new flu shot each year helps protect you and your family from this serious illness. This year, with the ongoing pandemic, it's more important than ever to get the flu shot. There is no cost for the flu shot, and getting a flu shot won't give you the flu. Contact your doctor today or ask your member services representative for details.
This is Irma. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to speak about being denied transport today for a scheduled appointment.
Okay. Now, are you wanting to do, because the only thing we can do here at Aetna would be if you wanted to file like a complaint, but if you're wanting to actually check or maybe speak with the supervisor,
Yeah, I'd like to file
have
a
to transfer
grievance
you to...
for the denial.
Okay. Can I get your member number?
Yes, ma'am. 1 second.
All right. What's the number, please?
Sorry, I'm pulling.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
It is 579-403-864-5696.
All right. Let me pull up your information. Thank you. May I have your name and date of birth, please?
Oh, yes. Jeffrey Bodin, Jeffrey space Bodin, and date of birth 05/22/97.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bodin. Can I get a phone number and if you could verify the address?
Yes, ma'am. Phone number is 985-520-4713 or 985-272-8989. And home address is 528 Beauchene Drive, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70471.
Okay. Now, that address we're not showing on file, the 928. And you said it was Ocean Drive?
Beauchene, Beau space Chene.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misheard the Ocean. We do have that address. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's
I
fine.
heard
It
Ocean
happens,
instead of
all the time.
Beauchene. All right, I'm sorry. All right, and then we do have an email showing, which they have us verify, of Jeffrey Bodin 713 at Gmail. And then there's a provider that's listed underneath your name on the card. We're supposed to mention that as well. So I show a Callie Linden. Now, you can always the primary care physician in case that's not correct, because I know the system will select someone for you. Or if it is the right provider, we just mention the doctor listed at this time. Let me pull up here. Give me just a second. Now, you said this was for a denied. So did they submit a prior authorization, like were you going over the mileage limitation for transportation?
I believe so. They told me on Monday, December the 5th, that they had it scheduled and were sending it to their supervisor, and the supervisor was going to send it to y'all to do the, presumably the
prior authorization.
And I've been transported there many times, a lot, with the transportation through y'all. And it's been the same distance, the same every single time. So I expected that it would be prior authorized with no issues. But I called, I didn't receive any answer from MediTrans on Monday. from the supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't receive any notice from any drivers that had picked up the trip in the in between, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
seem like that was going to be an issue because that wasn't mentioned or anything. So
And no one
I
contacted
yeah, no
to
one
let you know
contacted
anything.
me at
Okay.
all. So I called just 20 minutes ago maybe to check
Mm-hmm.
with them, and they said that it was showing as denied by Aetna, so that y'all denied the prior authorization, which is odd because you accepted the physician's appointment, and it's the same physician and it's the same location. So it's a bit, and it's a very small number above the mileage denial. I was told I got some information clear with them on that it was your mileage limitation is 30 miles, and this was 34.37 miles or so. So it was 7 miles roughly round trip over the limit. And that thus far hasn't been an issue, even though every other time it seems like it has needed a prior authorization. The prior authorizations were always just granted, and this time it wasn't, and I'm not sure why.
Okay. Now, in the system, they do have a note from the department that handles the transportation prior authorizations. Now, and I guess we can, well, with this, they're going to go ahead and investigate here to see what's going on, because when did you have the last ride that they did for you to the same provider?
Oh, okay, I can pull that up, no problem.
Okay.
I think it was just about a year ago, since right now my schedule with this provider is about annual, but I will check to make sure exactly the date. I think it was let's see here, it was in 2021 on the it was December the 1st of 2021 at 1 p.m. with a 1 p.m. pickup time at my address, roughly. I have the confirmation number from that ride as well, if you wanted that.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned that the ride was last year, then, so what happened is that the vendors changed. So they did have a change in vendor. So with this new vendor, which is MediTrans, and I believe that the change was done in April, where they got the new vendor, and it used to be, I forgot the name of their company that it was. It was called One Call. The vendor before this one, that is MediTrans, it was One Call. Now with One Call, they did have mileage limitations, but they weren't enforcing them. And then when the Medicaid office decided to change the vendor for the plans, they decided to go with MediTrans. Now they're more strict on the mileage. So that particular trip, you didn't have an issue because they weren't enforcing the mileage limitations on there. Now, the note that they have from the request that we received on the 5th, like you mentioned on Monday, they're showing that the mileage limitation that they have for the type of provider that you're seeing is a 15-mile limit now. Well, that's what it was before, but like I mentioned, they weren't enforcing it, and now this new company is. So when they did the address information, like in the system, to see how far it was, it's showing the 34 miles, like you mentioned, because they did notate that on here as well, that the member wants to travel 34 miles to see from Mandeville to New Orleans to see, the behavioral health specialist, and then they put the name of the provider, Dr. Ashley Weiss.
Yes, ma'am.
Or Weiss Ashley. I don't know if it's backwards, but
no,
have
it's
Weiss
correct. Ashley Weiss.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that's why they weren't able to approve the trip, because now with this new vendor, MediTrans, they do enforce the mileage limitation, and so they're wanting you to see a provider that's closest to your area. And that's why it wasn't approved.
She's
but
the
I can
closest in the state.
still put.
Like
I can
legitimately.
still go ahead and put that in, because they're supposed to let you know, once they have the response, so at least you're not waiting and thinking you still have the trip, but then, the day of the trip comes and you have, when you call in, then, they tell you it's been denied. They should have let you know before. To see what was going on, to try and see if there was a way that they might be able to get it approved. Now, they can approve sometimes as well if, like, your provider, like the doctor says that because they've been seeing you, if it's been a while that you've been going to that particular provider, they can submit what's called a prior authorization saying that they need to, you need to go in and see them because, you're a regular patient there with them, and they've been treating you for X amount of time. Because if they see that there's a prior authorization on file, then they can approve the trip when it's over the mileage limitation. And that way you're able to go.
I
and
already
they can
have
do
a prior authorization on file for her. That's why it got prior auth to see her in the first place.
In the system, we don't show, because usually what they do is if there's a prior authorization on file, it goes through our medical department, and then they have the dates on there that are approved for. We're not showing anything that's showing that, like a recent prior authorization.
How many years
the ones
back
that they
did
do
they
show.
go? Because I know they did one years ago.
Okay. Now they have on here where the very first prior authorization that we received for you was on July 31st of 2018, and then if they have a prior authorization but it would be for other things, not specifically for the behavioral health appointment, but that's how they have, they do have the dates of the very first one.
What was
so
that
the
date
last
again?
prior
Was July to
authorization,
what?
31st of 2018, but it's not to see that provider because the prior authorization that they had submitted in says it was with Children's Hospital. So we're not showing anything that shows with your doctor. The other ones show Children's Hospital and then LSU Hospital. But the last one we have was in November.
Prior authorizations for Dr. Weiss?
No,
surprised
we
about
haven't
that.
received not a prior authorization, no. Usually the prior authorization is, for example, if you're having like a certain, for example, the ones that, like that one from July that's showing the very first one, it might have been for a surgery or something that you had at Children's Hospital. And so they usually have to the doctor submits a prior authorization if you're having a certain surgery or procedure that they need to approve first, and then once it's approved, then they schedule that particular appointment. So to see the actual doctor, you don't need like a prior, well, you might have maybe needed a referral because sometimes they ask for a referral from your primary care, but that would be something different. The prior authorization is just to have approved so that they're able to pay for that particular procedure or service. In this case, if they submitted something like that, they could approve it because you have to go in and see that particular provider, and we received a request, so they would approve transportation because there's an approval that you have to see that particular doctor. But I was just saying, like, to give you an option that if the doctor is able to submit that in, then they can get transportation.
So I just need
Dr.
Weiss to submit a prior authorization for Dr. Weiss.
Yes, it would be to say that you have to see that particular provider and put on there, that she's been seeing you each year, and it is out of the mileage, but you need to go in and see her, and she can put whatever, if she needs to put any clinical information or on that for the request for them to approve transportation, because if not, they won't be able to approve your rides to see her. because it's over the amount that's normally covered for that particular provider.
So, like, coordination of care and previous extensive history of high-level specialty care?
Yes, they can mention that in the request, and that you don't have transportation, so you are needing to be taken there. In this case, they couldn't also mention that it's normally just once a year that you go in, so that they can approve it. But once it's approved in the system, then they would submit another request for you, because you would have to schedule for a new appointment, and they would be able to approve it because we have the request on file that's been approved, for you to see that particular provider.
And for, like, multidisciplined medical disorders, possibly, should that be included too? Because that's kind of why I see her.
Yes, she can put in as much information to support the request, so they can approve it. So any information that you feel, or that she feels, that you feel that should be included in the request, she should put that in there, because the more information that they have, then they're able to say, okay, yeah, this member needs to see this provider. We'll approve the request, and then that way, he can get transportation there.
And that's the information provided in the initial prior authorization itself.
That would be for the prior authorization here for us, for them to approve. Or, for example, I know when transportation or MediTrans does the prior authorization, they can put it in there as well, so that they can, review that, also. But usually it's best if, like, they submit a request, like, to the insurance, first, to make sure that it's approved, and then you would schedule your ride, and they would have to submit the prior authorization as well, because it is going over the 15 miles that they have as the limit for the mileage limitation. But with that, they would be able to see it, or as if they put in more information, then they can consider that the department that handles the prior authorizations here, that they receive from transportation. So if they had more information stating, like, for example, like you mentioned, you only go once a year, you need to see this provider, you've been seeing her for so many years, and she does treatment for that. So if they can reconsider, they can it can go through there to see. But I guess it's like, they get more if there's an actual request in there, then that usually they can't deny it, because they have a request where it says the doctor needs to see the member, and they're putting in the request because he's not able to get transportation. But it would be once a year.
Okay. So I guess after I finish the grievance, I should call them and then coordinate with them for that, because in the short term, that'll get me the ability to see her. But I'd still like to file a grievance, so that it's on file.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Now, with the grievance, it goes to our grievance department. If they need any additional information from you, they do give you a call to get that. If not, you do get a letter in the mail letting you know that they received the grievance. On that letter, they're going to put a date of when you'll get a response back after they do their research, and they contact as well. And then they see if there's any notes here in the system. So they have someone that investigates, and then they give you a response to that, or they'll send what the outcome is.
Okay.
All right, so I'll go ahead and submit that here, and Let me see if I have everything. I have your general information, which they asked for here first, and then the date of the trip, which was supposed to be today. Oh, do you have that trip number for today? Because they sometimes ask for that to put in there.
Yes, ma'am. That was T0333476.
Okay. And then because you mentioned you didn't hear anything back, so you didn't get like a text message or no phone call or anything before, like the day before, correct?
No, ma'am. I was supposed to receive contact from the supervisor themselves on Monday because I submitted the thing for the prior authorization like first thing in the morning, right when they opened. I was reassured that it was she definitely sent it to her supervisor, and the supervisor definitely would have had time to address it with y'all, and they did, and it was denied and such, but they never contacted me to express that denial, which I believe, I'm not sure if they were supposed to, or if they were only supposed to call me if it was a confirmed that I do have transport. I don't know what
it wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear. I mean, I may have just I might have heard what they were saying, or maybe I just didn't think to ask that, because that seems like I could be reasonable. Like I probably could have just I was focusing on it being pushed through, that because it had happened in the past, so I wasn't really even considering that it would have been denied. I'll definitely consider mentioning that in the future, to have them call me in both instances, because I didn't request them to call me at all. They had stated that they just do call you, and that didn't happen. And on yesterday, like normal, they didn't call me. The contractor who actually drives you, they didn't call me either, and I was expecting their call, like you had mentioned, and there was none. There was no text message from either MediTrans or from any contractor. So there was no one picked up but the trip, because it wasn't, I guess, put on the books, and there was only contact this morning around 7:40 a.m. or so. Just about then, between me and them, when I initiated contact, when I called them, and that was took about 5 minutes or so, and then I called my psychiatrist, and to get them to initiate a rescheduling of the appointment, and then I called y'all.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and I'll submit that then, so they can get started on the grievance. And then, like I mentioned, if they're needing anything additional, they'll contact you. If not, you'll get that letter, and then that'll have the date of when they'll have a resolution or an update for you. All right. And is there anything else I can assist you with today?
No, ma'am. I think that's it.
All right. I'll go ahead. I'm going to submit that for you then. And if you wanted to check back as well, they do put notes in the system once the grievance department has received it. So, if you needed to check back or something, we should be able to pull up, or we can check with that department for you.
Okay. I'll make note of that, to possibly check in the future if my psychiatrist needs that information or something. But otherwise, I'll just wait for you guys to contact me in case they do need more information, and I'll await the letter in the mail.
Okay, no problem. All right, then. Well, I hope you have a good day. Thank you for calling Aetna Better Health of Louisiana. They have a short survey. Did you want to participate in that today?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'd love to.
Okay. All right, I'll put you through. I do appreciate it. You have a great day. Thank you for calling.
Your feedback helps us improve. Please answer all 5 questions using the numbers on your telephone keypad. You'll have an opportunity at the end of the survey to leave us a voice comment. Let's get started. Thinking about the representative you just spoke with, please rate your experience. Choose any number between 1 and 5. 1 means you strongly disagree, and 5 means you strongly agree. Remember, the higher the number, the higher the rating. I was satisfied with the service I received today. 5. Strongly agree. The representative was easy to work with. 5. Strongly agree. Now, thinking about this call using a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being very likely, how likely are you to recommend us to others? Very likely. Is this your first call regarding this inquiry? Please press 1 for yes, and 2 for... Was your representative able to resolve your request? Please press 1 for yes, and 2 for no. Do you have any additional feedback you would like to share? To leave us a voice comment, touch any key on your telephone keypad and wait for the tone. When you are finished, simply hang up.
Feedback. Increase the mileage limit for all members to 50 miles, as that was the expressed increased request for the prior authorization by the representative. So in your system, it seems as though the 50 miles was the previous mileage that I was increased to by the previous contracted by the state of Louisiana contractor for right now it's MediTrans. Before it was One Call. One Calls was increased to 50 plus miles for me, as that's reasonable in the New Orleans metropolitan zone, because the distance between myself and the physicians is not zoned for construction. It's water. So if you needed a reason to call a congressman about that, that's one. As it shouldn't be in a system for computation to be marked as actual distance. It should just be subtracted. And you can send that to one of your engineers, and that could be actually a significant time saver. Otherwise, I'm not really sure how to fix that situation other than just literally incrementing everybody's mileage by plus 50.
We appreciate your feedback. Thank you for calling, and have a great day.
Good morning, Tulane Doctor Specialty Psychiatry Clinics answering service. This is Catherine. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to possibly put a note on a patient record myself to request my physician request a prior authorization for herself, even though it's not necessary to bill for the Tulane Doctor's Psychiatry. My psychiatrist needs to do it in the short term to facilitate transportation for myself. I just got off the phone with my insurance company for Aetna BetterHealth, and that was their recommendation to allow for the transportation because apparently in the entirety of the time I've had Aetna BetterHealth, I have not actually had a prior authorization on file for Dr. Weiss, which is I did not know that. But if there is one on file that roughly states something like as much information as she could provide, honestly. But of sorts of, I require her care specifically due to the time that I have been seeing her, which has been since 2017. Her level of specialty and high level of specialty, the highest basically, in order to properly care for my multiple diagnosed medical disorders in a neurological context, with relation to ongoing treatment for neurology and just to the general history I've had with her and her specialty for treatment for that.
Sure.
Like,
let me
the
get
more
some
that
information.
can be done,
May I
the
have-
better.
May I have your name, please?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Jeffrey Bodin, Jeffrey, space Bodin. Sorry, it connected so
like
fast
boy,
I thought
O.
it got through already.
Okay, it's B like boy, O, D like David, A-N? I-N, thank you. And may I have your phone number, please?
985-520-4713.
Okay, I have 985-520-4713.
Yes, ma'am.
May I have your date of birth?
05-22-97.
Okay. And what program are you in? The EPIC program?
Yeah, I think that's,
Or do you not know?
That's what I have written
Okay.
down here.
Okay, I'm going to have someone from the office reach out to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.